Whew. So the first thing I'm gonna make for my lunch today, besides getting a facial, is a crunchy noodle salad with lots of Asian spices. So I'm gonna start with thin pasta. I actually like thin spaghetti for it. It seems to absorb the flavor the best. Just put that in the bowl. Okay, the next thing is sugar snap peas, about a pound. I'm gonna salt the water and then blanch them for about 3 to 5 minutes, just until they're crisp tender. Okay, first scallions go into the salad, and the red peppers. And the next thing is the sugar snap peas. But I'm gonna shock them first, which means taking them out of the boiling water, putting them in ice water to stop the cooking. Really sets the color and it stops them from getting overcooked. Just takes a second. Perfect. Just make sure they're really cold, and they are. Right into the salad. It's really cold. Okay, now the sauce. It's got great flavor. Okay, the first thing is a cup of vegetable oil. I don't use olive oil here because I want the other Asian flavors to come out. So I wanted a clear oil with no flavor. Right into the bowl. 1/4 cup of rice wine vinegar. You can find this in the Asian section in your grocery store. 1/3 cup of soy sauce. 3 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil. This isn't the clear one. This is the one that's the dark one, and it's got lots of flavor. 1 tablespoon of honey, give it a little sweetness. And 2 cloves of chopped garlic. So 1 teaspoon of grated ginger. And if you want it hotter, you can always put more in. Okay, and this is the good stuff, 1/2 cup of peanut butter. That's really what gives it sort of an Indonesian flavor. And you want to use smooth peanut butter. And then just whisk it all together. And you can make this sauce way in advance. And you can make the salad in advance, but not too far, because actually the soy sauce will break down the noodles. I think the last thing I'm going to put in the sauce is some toasted sesame seeds. I toasted them in a dry pan. Just put about 2 tablespoons in. I'm going to save the rest to decorate the salad. Okay, right on the salad. So this is the warm noodles. I use spaghetti, thin spaghetti. And the scallions, sugar snap peas, red peppers. Toss it all together. I like lots of sauce on it. Need some chopped parsley, just a rough chop. And then some more sesame seeds, so it looks like sesame. I'm gonna make my Cape Cod chopped salad. It's gonna be delicious. Dried cranberries make it Cape Cod. I love all the big, bold flavors of the things from the farm. Of course, you can buy arugula at the grocery store. You need about 8 ounces for the salad. I actually love composed salads like this because you can really throw anything in that you like. I always go into the pantry and go, that would be good in this. That's how this salad came about. So the arugula, I just cut it in pieces. 1/2 cup of dried cranberries. Just toss them all in. And I've toasted some walnuts. It's about 1/2 cup of toasted walnuts. I toast them because when they're crisp, they really have that sort of walnut flavor. Just a big rough chop right on top. I'm gonna assemble all the pieces and then make a vinaigrette. Next, an apple. Granny Smith apple from my farm box. I'm just gonna peel it and chop it. Granny Smith apple's great because it's really tart, but if you have another apple, you can use really any apple you like. Just get a big chop. I don't like things too finely diced. I really want to just know they're there. Look how gorgeous that is. Okay, next is blue cheese. I'm going to use Roquefort because I love it. I need about 6 ounces of crumbled blue cheese. Roquefort is French sheep's milk cheese. So just give it a chop and then crumble it a little bit. What a great combination is it? Sweet and piquant and peppery. It's got everything going for it in this salad. So for the vinaigrette, I want a really fresh flavor. So because of the apples in the salad, I'm going to use apple cider vinegar, about 3 tablespoons. Okay, then I need 2½ teaspoons of Dijon mustard. I want this to have lots of flavor. 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. About a teaspoon of grated orange zest. And if you do it right into the bowl, you get all of the oils into the salad dressing. Okay, and then orange juice. Okay, I'm just gonna approximate it. This is the kind of salad dressing you just want to taste and make sure it's right. Fantastic. Okay, lots of salt and pepper. Vinaigrette has to be really highly seasoned. Because remember, it's just going to coat the lettuce. Give it a whisk, and then 2/3 of a cup of olive oil. The mustard actually acts as an emulsifier, so if you pour it in really slowly, it'll emulsify the dressing. Okay, that should do it. Just taste it, make sure it's right. It's great. Really taste the maple syrup. You can taste the mustard and the apple and orange. Just pour it right over. Just enough to moisten it, but not soak it. Give it a big toss, and then I have one more thing to put in. Something salty and crunchy. A little bacon that I roasted at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. That's the last thing I put in. When I'm testing recipes, this is usually just about the time that my assistant Barbara shows up. It's lunchtime. I think this is going to be really good. Just make sure it's good. I love assembled salads. It's a whole meal in one dish. And one of my favorites is a roasted chicken Cobb salad. And it starts with bacon. How bad could that be, right? So I've cooked the bacon 350 degrees on this sheet pan, so all the fat drains off, which is great. I cooked it for about 20 to 25 minutes, so I'm gonna let that cool. In the meantime, I've got all these other ingredients. The first one's Stilton, which is English blue cheese. And I'll show you how I like to cut this up. I just cut off the rind. A lot of people like to crumble Stilton into a salad, but I think it just makes everything look messy. So what I like to do is, as much as possible, cube it. So I'm just gonna prep all the ingredients, and then just before serving, put it all together. See, like big pieces are much better. I've cut up Hass avocados, big dice, because when I do an assembled salad, I want everything to be really clear. And I mix it with a little lemon juice, just to keep it bright green. Okay, that's perfect. I've got arugula that I washed and spun dry. It's got that really nice peppery flavor. It'll be really good in this. And I've got cherry tomatoes. And actually, I always cut the cherry tomatoes through the stem. I just think that looks nicest when you cut it open. Okay, next thing's the chicken. I roasted 2 chicken breasts. I slathered them with olive oil, salt, and pepper, and just roasted them 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes, just until they're done. And then it's really important to let them rest. All the juices get back into the meat. A long time ago, I tested boiling chicken for chicken salad as opposed to roasting, and the roasting was so much better. So just take off the skin. Now I'm gonna take my knife and just run it right between the meat and the bones in a big piece, but it doesn't all have to come off at once. And then just pull it apart. I don't like lots of little pieces, so make big chunks. Or you can shred it. Sometimes shredding is nice because it really absorbs the vinaigrette well. Okay, that's the chicken. So the bacon's cool now. I can cut it in big pieces. Big pieces. It's nice and crisp. Okay, that's the bacon. Now I'm gonna make the vinaigrette. So that's 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I'm gonna add 5 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, and then Dijon mustard, what it does is emulsify it and flavor it at the same time. So 1½ tablespoons. It's gonna have lots of flavor. Some salt, about 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and just whisk it all together. First, I'll start with the diced chicken, then the tomatoes, lots of salt, pepper, enough dressing to just moisten it, and I'll toss it all together. Next, the avocados, diced bacon, Stilton, the arugula on top, a little more dressing, a gentle toss, and it's done. That's so cool. How delicious does that look? I'm gonna start the dinner tonight my French bistro dinner with a nice warm butternut squash salad. The kind of salad that you might find in a classic bistro in France, but with the volume turned up. It's got cold arugula, warm butternut squash, and a maple drizzle on it. It's so delicious. So I'm starting with 1.5 pounds of butternut squash. I've peeled it, just taken out the seeds, and I'm just gonna cut it in big chunks. Just right onto a sheet pan. I do everything on a half sheet pan. Big drizzle of olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. About 1 tablespoon of good maple syrup. Use the real thing, makes a difference. Lots of salt and pepper. Clean hands. Just toss it all together. So I'm gonna bake at 450 degrees for 15 minutes. It's gonna be nice and brown. Then I'm gonna turn it with a spatula. Add some cranberries for the last 5 minutes. They get nice and plump and it really brings out their flavor. Okay, into the oven. So the next thing I'm gonna make for the salad is a warm vinaigrette, which is a little unusual. Most vinaigrettes are cold. But what I'm gonna do is reduce it, really intensify the flavors, and the warm vinaigrette really gets into the butternut squash. It's delicious. First thing I'm gonna use is 3/4 of a cup of apple cider. You can use apple juice, but apple cider, if you can find it, is even better. And to give it a little bit of a vinegary edge, since it's a vinaigrette, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. It's sort of the sweet and sour thing at the same time. And then 2 tablespoons of shallots. So I'm just gonna let that reduce. It'll take about 6 or 8 minutes until it's really concentrated. The flavors are really melded together. So the vinaigrette's reduced. Oh, that looks nice. It's really concentrated flavor. So now I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of mustard. And what that's gonna do is make an emulsion out of the vinaigrette. 1/2 cup of olive oil. And just whisk it in. Off the heat. About 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And just whisk it all together. I'm going to add cranberries to the butternut squash. Just about 3 tablespoons in the last 5 minutes of cooking. Really brings out their flavor and plumps them up. Time to assemble the salad. So the first thing I have is 4 ounces of arugula. It's gorgeous baby arugula. And I love it because it's got a nice peppery flavor. And it's great with the butternut squash. So I'm just gonna take the warm butternut squash, put it right on top of the arugula. It'll wilt the arugula, which is perfect. Okay, next I'm gonna put some walnuts, about 1/2 cup of toasted walnuts. I dry roasted them in a pan. Really brings out the walnut flavor. And lots of the grated Parmesan cheese, 3/4 of a cup. And the warm vinaigrette, it's sweet and it's sour from the vinegar. Just pour it all over. And just toss it all together, the spinach and butternut squash. It's got such great flavors, great autumnal looking salad. I would say that's gonna be perfect for Jeffrey's dinner. Now, all we need is a glass of champagne. Jeffrey's gonna think we're in a bistro in Paris. I love grilling, but it's not always that easy. You really have to pay attention to what's on the grill. So I like to do side dishes that are really easy to do, and I can make it in advance, like a big green salad with blue cheese dressing. How bad could that be? So I'm gonna start with the dressing. I've got good Roquefort. What I'm doing is a classic dish. I'm gonna turn up the volume on every single flavor in the dish. Instead of regular blue cheese, I'm using French Roquefort. So I need about 1/4 pound of Roquefort. Just goes right in the food processor. That's good enough right there. 1/3 cup of cream. 2 teaspoons of tarragon vinegar. Not regular white vinegar, good tarragon vinegar. Cup of mayonnaise. So I can make this dressing in advance, get the lettuce ready, and then when everything's off the grill, it's ready to go. About a cup. None of this has to be exact. Okay, that should be about right. Lots of salt and pepper. It's a dressing, so you want it really well seasoned. Pepper. And just whir it up in the food processor. That's it. Okay, that's the dressing next to the salad. You know, usually it was done with like iceberg lettuce, which has no flavor at all. So I'm going to turn up the volume and use really good lettuce. Just curly lettuce like this, or romaine, something like that. These are from my garden. They're really just beautiful, but you can get good lettuce in the store. The key is to make sure they're really dry, and then the dressing really sticks to it. These are really big. I can't fit them into the spin dryer, so I'm going to make one. Just take a clean white kitchen towel, just put them right in the middle, pull the corners up, just like this, and you've made yourself a spin dryer. Just steer clear. And it gets all the water out, and then the dressing really sticks to it. You feel crazy, but it works. Okay. Nice, gorgeous, dry lettuce. So instead of pulling all the leaves off, I'm actually going to do this. I'm just going to cut them in half. Let's see which one. I like the curly one, so I'm going to start with that. Just take the bottom of this off and just cut the whole thing in half. Make sure it's nice and clean. And just put a big piece of lettuce on the plate. I mean, how simple is that? And now you've got to have tomatoes, but not just ordinary tomatoes. I'm going to pick really gorgeous heirloom tomatoes. Just a couple of big, thick slices. Yeah, okay. I always like to use a serrated knife for cutting tomatoes. I think they're easiest. You want something that has great flavor. So I'm going to do like 2 slices of tomato. And then because I have all these gorgeous little tomatoes that are so wonderful, I'm just going to cut them in half. They all don't have to be the same size. I actually like when they're not the same size. This looks like a very big salad for one. Might be for 2. Just little tomatoes. This is one of my favorites, called green zebra, appropriately named. And even when it's ripe, it's green, and it's so delicious. All these little, aren't they just gorgeous? Look how lovely they are inside. And all I need is dressing, and I've got the perfect side dish for a grill. This big drizzle of blue cheese dressing. And of course, to give it even more flavor, crumble of more cheese, a little bit of blue cheese on it. I mean, does this look good or what? I can guarantee you I'll be serving this at my next grilling party. Heirloom tomatoes and blue cheese dressing. Who would want anything else? So good.